pass over to Mike Muhi.
Tuake au ki te mihi ki a koutou, hui hui I tēnei ata. Kānui te ho te koa. Ki te kiti a koutou I te timatana o tēnei tau. Nō reira, tēnā koutou. Engari I tēnei wā, e pai nō ki te huri o mātou whakaaro ki a rātou kuru pekātu ki tua te rai. Nō reira koutou hau koko whetu rangitia, a tēnei te mihi atu. Nō reira koutou, hare ki mua ki te take ki te whakapai mai te kainga hei mua, he tuku mō tātou. Mai te hunga mate, hare atu. E koutou te hongora, tēnā koutou. Ko tēnei te timatana o tō mātou haringa, nō reira kānui te koa ki te kiti a koutou, a hoko he wākea, he Māori rānei, timatana o tō tātou mahi, tēnei ata. Engari I tēnei wā ka huri ki tō mātou minata, Roger, ki a karakia, he timatana tēnei hui.
Kino tātou, wei ki te atua Maungaharuru ki te whenua whakaaro prāti ngā tangata patoa. Āmen. I te matua kaha rawa, a whakarongo ki a mātou kōrero, mātou inoi ki a koe, ki a tata mai ki a mātou, hei awheneti, hei aritaki a mātou, I ngā mahi e mui a mātou, tēnei ata tēnei rā. I te matua mahi ai mātou, hei tēki a tātou, whenua tātou awa, tātou mōna, me a tātou iwi hoki. I te matu whakakahi a mātou hoki ni mahi uawa whakahire rā. Mahi ai mātou hei kroia tau no tapu ko I krati hoki tō mātua ki. Amen.
Well, morning everyone. Thank you very much. Mike, Roger, o tūwhero o tātou hui. I'd like to extend a welcome to Joinella Maihi Carroll, our new member of the Joint Planning Committee. Mihi ati ki a koe Joinella. Nau mai waina mata. Okay, so we'll get our meeting on the road. Do we have any apologies? I understand that what's going on with
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, apologies for lateness from Council Chairman Rex Graham and Andrew Newman. They're in a meeting in Hastings at the moment.
Okay. And Tania Hopkins, did she communicate to you?
She was supposed to be calling in, and we're still waiting to hear details from her about contact.
Yeah. Right. Someone move the apologies be accepted, please. Seconder. All in favour. Thank you. Conflicts of interest declaration. Do we have forms that people fill in this committee? And has everybody done that?
But I think, Chair, the other point about this is that it might be something on the agenda which people might have a conflict of interest which is not dealt with a form. This is the opportunity for them to declare it.
Yes. Okay. So are there matters on the agenda that people would like to raise the issue of conflict? No one, thank you. Confirmation of the minutes of the Regional Planning Committee held on the 23rd of November. Can we go through? Has anyone got any items within these minutes that they wish to correct? Okay. Can someone move this to be a true and correct record of the minutes?
I'll move.
Second, all in favour of these minutes be adopted. Thank you.
Can we do the second award?
Councillor Peter.
So they moved it. They
Let's
moved it.
move on.
Oh, gotcha.
So
Okay.
thank you.
Matters arising. No matters arising? Thank you, everyone. Move on to the next thing. Follow-up items from the Regional Planning Committee meetings. Item number 4.
Thank you, Chair. Perhaps I'll, since I've got the bulk of these, just provide an update to the committee. The recommendations from the committee to the council on from the 23rd of November to the council meeting on the 30th are set out and they were agreed to by the council without amendment. Item 2, the water conservation order. We've been in discussions with the Office of the Minister for the Environment in the last week, and we are advised that the Minister has now lodged a paper to the Cabinet Appointments and Honours Committee appointing the special tribunal to consider the water conservation order application, and that will be announced sometime in the next week or thereabouts. That will mean that the tribunal will become legally constituted and the statutory clock will start ticking in terms of the timetable they must meet to call for submissions. They will firstly be submissions on process, we expect, and so the draft submission that was presented to this committee on the 23rd of November last year is ready to go, but we will finalise that submission once we've seen the final terms of reference for the tribunal and seen the nature of the call for submissions. And there are several councillors who were delegated by that meeting of the 23rd of November to finalise with staff that submission. So we will follow that process over the next few weeks. It's just possible that the tribunal won't be formed and that the deadline won't have closed prior to the next meeting of the RPC, and if that is the case, then we will certainly bring the final submission to this table for endorsement before submitting it. We're just slightly in the hands of the gods in terms of the precise timing of all of this. The third item just relates to the block offer, and the submission that was lodged as approved by this committee is in the papers under attachment 1. And at this point in time we've had no response from central government, despite our request that New Zealand Petroleum and Minerals provide a full response to the concerns raised by the committee.
Thank you, James. Anyone got any questions in regard to this?
Thank you, Chair. I'm not entirely sure whether this is the appropriate place to bring this up or not, but one of the motions that was passed at the full council meeting on the 14th of December was that a paper was to be brought to this committee about the release of GMOs in Hawke's Bay. I see that that's not on the agenda. James, can you just give us an update as to when we can expect that to be presented to this meeting?
The action item on the council, you're quite right, councillor, on the council agenda that will go to the next council meeting, had that report back for the March meeting. So we're currently working on that advice, and it will come to this table at the very next meeting.
Any other matters? Councillor?
Mr. Chairman, just curious terminologies referring to acreage. Is that how the areas are still described officially?
I believe so. Yes, I'm getting a nod from down the other end of the room. So something to do with the way in which the I guess the oil and gas industry works, and it's possibly because it's an industry that's dominated by North American interests. It might be the standard industry terminology, I imagine. Texan way.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, one more. No one. Okay, someone move the recommendation, please. Thank you, Paddy. Second. Paul Bailey.
Who moved it? Sorry. Councillor
Paddy
Bennett.
Hall.
Oh,
Yep.
there you go. Thank
Paul
you.
Bailey. Yeah. All in favour? Thank you. So, I'll make a call for items of business not on the agenda.
Māori tourism.
Māori tourism, okay. Any other?
Another one I'd like to see on the chair is succession planning and leadership skills.
Is that in relation to training, is it? Yes. Okay. Any further? Okay. So the next item is information on performance monitoring, and that is a heading, but it doesn't relate to anything, does it? It's just a heading.
Oh, yeah, that's just the heading, yeah.
Okay, right.
The next item.
So we've got a verbal presentation by Maungaharuru.
Oh, can we ask, sorry, Mr Chairman, can I just get Joyce Ann to speak to that, please?
Just to say that we're waiting for Tanya Hopkins to be teleconference thing, but she said her apologies that Shane Walker wasn't able to be here today, so they won't present there. But she will be joining us, and I think the next item is will take.
Okay, thank you. So we're on a verbal update on the RPC terms of reference review, and
So, Mr Chairman, that's my a joint verbal update from myself and from Tanya, so can I request that that be delayed until she is able to phone in as well?
She did give us a brief report yesterday saying that there hadn't been a lot of progress, is it?
Well, I can go ahead and give you the verbal update now if you like. So members of the committee, you'll recall that one of the requirements of the Regional Planning Committee Act is that you collectively review the terms of reference for this committee, and a draft has come back, has been presented to you last year, and several of us were tasked with getting that through to a final completed version that we could bring back to the table for your adoption. There's really probably 4 key points that remained, or we have been working on. One of those was the appointment of a legal advisor to review the terms of reference, someone that all members of the committee were satisfied with, and we now have had confirmation just today that the Tangitu Whenua representatives are happy with Lara Blomfield from Sainsbury, Logan and Williams undertaking that review. There's also the requirement for the appointment of an independent reviewer to assess or determine the method of remuneration for the Tangitu Whenua representatives. The Tangitu Whenua are still in discussion regarding this appointment, so in the interim we will continue with the payments as to be processed as they have been from the outset of the establishment of this committee. And part of the terms of reference is a disputes resolution section, and Tanya Hopkins, as a lawyer, has undertaken to write that, and she's in the process of doing that. Obviously, if she was here today, she could have given you more of a detailed update on that, but nevertheless, that's her if you like, responsibility. And then finally, what happens from once we've got all this done. So once the terms of reference have been reviewed legally by Lara, it will be returned to council staff, to Tangitu Whenua members and councillors who sit on the terms of review panel. So that's Tanya Hopkins, Toru Waka, Councillor Graham and Councillor Barker. And then it's expected that a letter of recommendation will be signed by the co-chairs and the deputy co-chairs, informing the treaty entities of their support for the terms of reference document. So our timetable now is the 3rd of May meeting of this committee for the final terms of reference. Thank you, Mr Chairman.
Thank you. Yeah.
Just in that, I see all the process, but there seems to be some dialogue. There seems to be dialogue happening with the Tangitu Whenua, but I didn't quite hear in the process you gave, Liz, where there was a process for councillors alone to consider what was in it.
Yeah, no, that's a fair point, Councillor Barker. The delegation was given to yourself and as Deputy Chair of Council and to Councillor Graham, and that was my understanding, was that we would deal through you, but more than happy to set up a process whereby all 9 councillors are also given the opportunity to ask questions, provide feedback, and give you informal approval before it comes back for formal approval, to make sure that you're all satisfied with it as well. Happy to do that through another process
I would welcome that, because it would make sure, it seems it's one of these things where it's best that we're all together, and I wouldn't want to see the chair and the deputy chair be out on a limb on this and turn up to have other 7 councillors say we don't agree with you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Sure, yes, okay. So
You should.
Yeah, we can do it. So ask if there's any more questions and then I'll tell them.
Okay, any other questions on this matter? Thank you. Now, I understand,
Do we
yeah,
move to accept it?
So,
To accept this report?
the
Yeah.
that have been received?
can we move the report be received, please?
Join now.
Seconder? Kenton Wilson. All in favour? Thank you.
So, Mr Chairman, there's been a request that the meeting be adjourned for 2 minutes while we get Tania called in by telephone, please. So if you're happy with that, would you mind adjourning the meeting?
I'm not that happy with it. I think you needs to be better organised than this. But, okay, yes, we'll adjourn for 2 minutes and, yeah.